South Korea revealed on Wednesday that exports in July rose more than 6% on year and surpassed the $50 billion mark for the fifth consecutive month. This comes despite concerns being raised by the growing trade war between the US, China and the EU. The question is, will this be a sustained trend, or will the consequences of the trade war catch up and have a delayed effect on the Korean economy? We'll discuss that with a guest in the studio right after this report.
Korea's exports surpassed the $50 billion mark last month, recovering from a dip recorded in June. The Ministry of Trade, Industry and Energy said Wednesday the country's exports recorded nearly $52 billion in July, an increase of more than 6% from the same period last year. This is a big improvement compared to June, when exports dipped by nearly 0.2% on year. 10 of the 13 main export items saw increases, including petroleum and petrochemical goods, steel, semiconductors, machinery, and computers. Semiconductor exports in particular increased for the third consecutive month in July, surpassing $10 billion, the fourth highest monthly record ever. Exports of computers also increased for the 16th straight month in July.
A global shortage of semiconductors has continued since the end of 2016. Prospects are good for Korea's semiconductor exports in the latter half of this year as well, with unit prices expected to stay at the current level.
Meanwhile, exports in shipbuilding dropped by a staggering 73.4%, followed by home appliances, which dropped by nearly 16% on year last month. Auto exports dipped for the sixth straight month in July, falling by 13.5% from July last year, as shipments to Korea's biggest auto export market, the U.S., slumped, following U.S. import restrictions.
The auto sector is also affected by changes to Korea's labor rules, including shorter working hours. But as we adjust to the changes, the ministry thinks auto exports will recover in the second half.
Exports to China and South American countries increased the most, growing by around 27% and 23% respectively. Exports to the ASEAN region and India dipped due to increased local competition. Imports also increased by more than 16% in July on year to record nearly $45 billion. The trade surplus for July was more than $7 billion. It was the 78th straight month it has been in surplus. The ministry cites favorable economic conditions for the global manufacturing sector, increases in gross domestic product among major economies, and increases in unit prices of major exporting goods for the strong export figures. Kim Ji-yeon, Arirang News.